Staying lean while socialising. One of the many paradoxes in life. I say that with a hint of sarcasm, so there'll be a few people watching this saying, just enjoy yourself. It's summer. But what if we could still enjoy ourselves without undoing the hard work done during our dieting phases? In this video, I'm going to break down how you can stay lean without having to say no to social events and say yes to that 3-course dinner with your friends. So what are the main components involved in being able to stay lean? Firstly, food. Ensure we're not eating too much or too little. Secondly, our total daily expenditure. And thirdly, sleep and recovery. Let's start with calculating our maintenance calories. In order to do so, we must first find out an individual's BMR, which stands for basal metabolic rate, the bare minimum amount of calories you need if you were to lay in bed all day. A simple and effective way to do this is to multiply body weight in kilos by 22. As an example, we'll take an 80 kilo person. Multiply that by 22, that gives us 1,760 calories. Once we have that figure, we then need to multiply it by an activity multiplier. This is where things can become a little skewed. What I've noticed in the past is people tend to over-egg the pudding when it comes down to their activity multipliers, being a little bit too generous with their interpretation of the calories burned during their gym sessions. I think the vast majority of us are under the impression that during our hour gym session, we're burning through hundreds of calories, when in reality it's probably only a couple hundred. These activity multipliers also don't take into consideration an individual's NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Some do, some don't. But I'm going to leave you in the safe hands of Dr. Eric Helms, who will explain things a little bit better than I can.
Many times bodybuilders are confused, or athletes in general are confused when they read the activity multipliers in traditional equations, because the amount of training changes as they go from sedentary to very active. But in reality, you can have a bodybuilder who might be training 4 days a week who's completely sedentary. Maybe they're a programmer in their profession, and maybe they just don't like to do many things outside of the house. Likewise, you can have a bodybuilder who's a construction worker and happens to enjoy taking hikes in their free time. They're both doing the same amount of training, however their activity levels outside of training are vastly different.
Using Eric Helms' formula, let's take our 80 kilo person and say they live 3 to 6 times per week and are lightly active. Lightly active here meaning anywhere between 6 to 8,000 steps per day. We times our BMR, 1,760, by 1.5, giving us 2,640 calories. The reason why I've gone pretty conservative on that caloric intake is because personally, I think if you are someone that wants to stay lean during summer, then flirting between your maintenance and a small deficit is slightly more advantageous when it comes down to body composition. However, if you're watching this and are someone that likes to enjoy their food, then I have a small, simple trick for you. The introduction of some conditioning. Now you're probably thinking, hold on Tom, if I introduce some conditioning work, then surely I'm going to be in a calorie deficit. That's true. However, we're going to be eating back our calories burned through 2 options. Option 1 is indeed the eat back method. Say you do a 500 calorie Metcon session in the gym, you take 90% of that and add it onto your calories for the day. The reason why we take 90% is because these things aren't an exact science. So to account for the potential over-exaggeration, we'll use 90%. Option number 2 is the divide method. So if you are someone that has a consistent pattern when it comes down to their conditioning work over the week, say you've got a run on Monday, a swim on Wednesday and a cycle on Friday, and maybe some Metcons within the week, you simply add up the calories burned, divide that by 7, and then add it onto your daily calories. I know it's a little confusing, but any questions, feel free to tap them below and I'll get back to you. Now we've got that sorted, let's head downstairs to the kitchen and I'll give you some tips on how to stay lean during summer. 2 of your best friends when it comes to staying lean or even getting lean is high volume meals and intermittent fasting. I've already done a very detailed video on high volume meals, so feel free to click the above link, absorb it, and then come back to this point. The second word I mentioned then was intermittent fasting. I'm sure you've all heard it before. It's essentially consuming all of your calories in a very small or medium window. Now I'm going to consume this high volume chicken salad, and then once I've done so, we'll explain intermittent fasting in a little bit more detail via the use of some plates. Okay, so here in front of me is a regular eating pattern. Might have some breakfast at 6 or 7, a little snack when you get into the office at 10, lunch at 12, 1, another little snack at say 4 or 5, and then dinner with the family about 7 or 8 p.m. What intermittent fasting is doing is taking a large chunk and portion of the day where you would be eating and replacing it with a fast. I'm talking black coffees. I'm talking sugar-free fizzy drinks as an example. So goes to one side is our regular eating pattern. In comes intermittent fasting. First meal about 12:1. Second meal about 3 or 4. Then our final meal about 7 or 8. Is intermittent fasting going to get us more shredded than these lot? Absolutely not. We should not be under the illusion that intermittent fasting is going to get you more shredded than a regular eating pattern. Total caloric intake at the end of the day is going to dictate whether or not you get shredded, whether or not you maintain those shreds or bulk up a little bit. Some proposed benefits of intermittent fasting: digestion improvements, yeah. Potential improvements in sensitivity to foods, yeah. But it's not going to get you more shredded. Intermittent fasting is a tool for people that are on relatively low calories to consume more food throughout those meals. Now, we've spoken about diet, and at the beginning of this video, we spoke about having a social life. So let's talk a little bit about alcohol. So you've got a choice: either socialise and gain weight, or stay shredded and not go out. Right? Wrong. By making smarter decisions when it comes down to the alcohol choice, vodkas, gin and tequila, as opposed to beers and wine, along with manipulating food on the day or week you're going out, we can still keep those shreds. Here we have option 1, the banking method. You're going out on Saturday and you're having, say, 8 double vodkas. That's 800 calories. Let's take our 80 kilo person who's maintaining on 2,640 calories per day. 800 calories divided by 5 because Monday to Friday, is 160 calories to be subtracted from our person's daily diet. They'll now be having 2,480 calories per day, meaning they've banked 800 for the weekend. Option 2 is the redistribution method. If you can't be bothered to pull calories down during the week, simply redistribute some of your calories on the day you go out. Our person is on 2,640 calories per day. They'll be having around 800 calories when they go out through drinks. So on the day, 800 calories minus 2,640 equals 1,840 calories through food. And finally, potentially one of the most important areas when it comes down to our physique development: sleep and recovery. We know from numerous studies that sleeping 6 hours or less can increase your chances of obesity, increase appetite, and also decrease fullness through increasing cortisol. So what is advised is a consistent sleep-wake cycle, reducing blue light around the sleep window, and also implementing a caffeine curfew. I don't recommend caffeine later than 12 to 2 p.m. for most of my clients. In terms of recovery, things like Epsom salt baths, massage guns, stretching every morning, foam rolling as well is also advised to keep us ahead of that recovery curve. To summarize, ladies and gents, how to stay lean over this summer: plenty of steps, increase that NEAT, get in some conditioning work, try and train 4 to 5 times per week. From a food standpoint, flirting between your maintenance and a very small deficit is advised, and make sure we're getting enough sleep and recovery. I'll see you very soon. Any further questions on this video or today's topics, hit them below. Thank you, good night. Much love.